What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now, with this video, we are jumping back into the Darkhold with our Wasp edition. And if you haven't been keeping up with this line, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this line. Now, so far, we are seeing what happens when our heroes read from the Darkhold, being the only way they can go take on Chthon with our ragtag team of Avengers. What they are learning is their what-if stories. If small details in their stories were to change, how it would have such a drastic outcome on what lies ahead. And so with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into the Wasp issue, we are picking up with Janet and Hank. And right off the bat, we are learning that there appears to be some kind of, not necessarily hostility between the two, but there's a distance. We're seeing Hank not wearing his wedding ring. This is really bothering Janet. Now Hank lets her know that he can't work with his wedding ring on, that it's simply too dangerous. But we can see that this truly affects Wasp. And it's just the little things that she is noticing. But she also understands that every marriage, it has rough patches. Every marriage has these moments where not everything is 100%. And so they continue on to their day-to-day. Now Wasp, she is still currently working on the Avengers team. Hank, on the other hand, he is not allowed on the Avengers because of government sanctions. Whatever he has done recently, it has caused them to ban him from the Avengers, at least temporarily. And so picking up with the Avengers, they are currently going against Kang the Conqueror. And it really looks like our Avengers, they have the upper hand. They are throwing Kang around, but Iron Man gets cocky, thinking he has the upper hand. That changes so very quickly because Kang the Conqueror, no matter how great Tony Stark's mind is, no matter how great his technology is, Kang the Conqueror can control it. And using Iron Man as a puppet, Iron Man starts attacking all of the Avengers. And with Kang the Conqueror thinking that he has all of these guys at bay, coming to steal whatever he is looking for, this is where our tiny little Wasp comes flying in. But Kang the Conqueror knows exactly how to get to her. Though she's able to throw in some good punches, he attacks her psychologically because he can feel the resentment that is pouring out of her for Hank. And he uses this to his advantage, bringing up one of his old lovers that lived in Egypt, saying that she reminds him so much of her and that he cared for her. He would go to the ends of the universe to bring her back, to save her life, to do anything he can for her. And so he asked the Wasp, who is out there caring for you? And using this trick, this gives Kang the Conqueror the opportunity to escape. And that leaves Janet there questioning everything about her life. Now we pick up a little bit later and we have Janet just bringing Hank some food, bringing him some lunch while he is hard at work in the laboratory. And we can immediately tell that he's on edge, that he freaks out even when she asks the simplest of questions. Now he recognizes he's on edge a little bit, but he lets his anger get the better of him. But Janet's able to really de-escalate the situation, and she does that by just telling him how amazing he is, how the work he does is just groundbreaking, really just hyping him up to the absolute fullest. Now Janet really wants to just spend some quality time with him. She even suggests that they go on some kind of vacation just to get away from everything. Get away from the laboratory, get away from the Avengers, get away from trying to do everything he can to get back on the Avengers. But he says he's simply too busy. Even though he makes up his own schedule, he says he just doesn't have time for her. But Janet really lets him know that they don't need the Avengers, they don't need anybody else. Because as long as they have each other, that is all that they really need. And as she sits there and loves on him and consoles him, she recognizes that his ring is off yet again. And immediately he flips out, tells her not to make a big deal out of it, not to make a fight out of this. And so she says nothing except for "I love you," and she walks away. And so we can obviously tell that this relationship is just not doing well right now. It is definitely in a rough patch. She is doing everything she can to show her compassion, her affection, her support for her husband. The issue is, he just isn't listening. He's not reciprocating this in any way, shape, or form. And that's what takes us to Avengers Mansion. And right now, everybody is celebrating because Hank is back in the Avengers. With the government lifting whatever restrictions and sanctions that were on him, he is welcomed back with open arms. And we see a conversation between Janet and Pepper. And this conversation is it's really Janet just not wanting to talk about her relationship issues, but it's obviously there. That resentment, it's been building up. Well, yes, he's getting everything that he currently wanted. He is still leaving her by the wayside, still absolutely ignoring her in every form of their relationship. And Pepper even brings up the same thing that Kang the Conqueror had brought up. Who is going to take care of you if you're not going to take care of yourself? Now this is when Hank takes on the persona of Yellow Jacket. But things go way different for him. He starts to lose control, and Janet starts to recognize that he is nothing more than a tortured soul. Someone that doesn't necessarily care about him, but only cares about furthering himself. Questioning every day why she should let this continue. Saying that this partnership, it requires a give and take, and that simply is not happening anymore. And so we can see that all of this, it's building up. This is all getting to her, and she really just doesn't know what to do, because at the end of the day, she loves Hank with everything that she is. But she is questioning herself more and more every day if she should stay in this relationship. And so picking up a little bit later, with Wasp and Tigra sitting outside of a room, waiting for Hank to come out. Right now, having a discussion with the Avengers. These two talk about what is going on with Janet. And this conversation is really just reinforcing everything that we have seen so far. That she's not happy in the relationship. That he may not be like all of the other Avengers, but he is definitely egotistical. He is definitely full of himself. He is definitely narcissistic. And she couldn't imagine being married to any of them, let alone someone like Hank. Now she tries her best to defend him, but in the midst of their conversation, Hank comes piling out of the room because he has been kicked off of the Avengers again. Even coming in as Yellow Jacket, they're saying that he is too violent, he is too erratic. He doesn't try to stop the situation without violence first. That he goes in guns blazing, and that is just too much of a liability for the Avengers to have. Not only that, because of his actions, they are going to make him stand court-martial. And so right now, he is absolutely petrified. And though she embraces him, we see her at night tossing and turning, with Hank never coming to bed, with her all alone, all of this resentment, all of this building up inside of her. It's only a matter of time before something happens. It's only a matter of time before she snaps and cannot take it anymore. But getting up in the middle of the night one night, she goes down to Hank's lab to see what he is up to. Going down there, shrinking down to the size of a wasp. She goes to investigate because he has been frantically working down here for days. And what she sees, it absolutely terrifies her because he is building some kind of ultimate robot. Now Hank sees her and he absolutely freaks out. Believing that she is spying on him, he swats her right out of the sky. With her going pummeling down to the ground, she goes back to regular size. And he yells, he screams at her, saying that he is trying to save his career. As she pleads with him, she begs him to just stop all of this, that they can find some kind of other way. This is where he strikes her, hitting his wife directly across the face, sending her flying back. Breaking beakers all over her hands, we see blood pouring out of her. Now Hank, recognizing that he went way too far, He tries pleading with her, trying to say that he's sorry, that he didn't mean to do it, that he doesn't know what came over him. But this is where we see Janet pick up one of those shards of glass. And this is the moment that Wasp breaks. This is the moment that she cannot take anymore. Taking that glass, she drives it into the chest of her husband. She stabs him once. She stabs him twice. She continues to stab him as blood is spilling out of his body as he goes lifeless. And with her covered in blood, stepping away from the body, she feels that she is finally free. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This story actually turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Not really sure which direction they were gonna go with the what if Wasp line. I really like this aspect because for the longest time she was a loving, caring, compassionate wife that did everything to help her husband Hank. But he let the stresses of life, the stresses of the Avengers, the stresses of everything build up so much that he ended up neglecting his wife, treating her horribly, and in his anger, he strikes out and he hurts her. And after all of this time, after all of this resentment, after taking that strike, she simply could not take it anymore. And she lashed out. She killed her husband right there on the spot. Now, we have seen so far throughout these comics, they really have been using this kind of old style artwork. More specifically because they're trying to tell older stories. Or at least that's the idea behind it. This is their original story with a small twist to it. So why not use the artwork from that time era? My issue is I've never been a fan of artwork from that time era, no matter how great the story is. You know, and obviously the art has greatly evolved over the years, but it's definitely growing on me as we're telling these stories in the what if manner. Now, moving forward, we still have the Darkhold Black Bolt, Spider-Man, and the Darkhold Omega. And so with 3 more issues left, I am excited to see what they have in store for us. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.